Hi guys, welcome to dental classes. Today we shall discuss 50 MCQs from the biostatistics topic so that you people can take a test of these 50 MCQ questions and see where you people stand in your preparation for MDS. Okay. Now without any delay we'll move on to the first question. Okay. Census is conducted every. Options are 2 years, 5 years, 7 years and 10 years. Okay. Now, second question. The mean and median dental caries levels of a taluk were 4 and 5. What would be the possible mode? Here the options are 7, 2, 1 or 9. Now you have to use an equation connecting mean, median and mode so as to find the mode in this question. You can pause if needed for more time. Okay. Now, moving on to the third question, that is, the best measure for central tendency in a highly skewed population is. The options are median, mean, mode, and range. Now, moving on to the fourth question, that is, the response which is graded by an observer on agree or disagree continuum is based on. Options are A. Visual analog scale, B. Gutman scale, C. Likert scale and D. Adjective scale. Okay. Fifth one, that is father of health statistics is. Options are A. John Snow, B. John Grant, C. Frederick Mackay and D. Pierre Fauchard. Okay. Now moving on to the sixth one, scatter diagram represents. Options are trend over time, pie chart, association between two variables and frequencies telling occurrences. Okay. Now moving on to the seventh question, the arithmetic average of a number of observations is called. Options are mean, median, range or all of the above. Now eighth one, that is prevalence of a disease effects. Options are sensitivity, specificity, predictive value and repeatability. Now ninth one, that is a Gaussian distribution is. Is it a normal distribution, log normal distribution, Poisson distribution or variant distribution? Now moving on to the 10th question, sampling that involves randomly selecting some of the pre-existing natural groups is called. Options are cluster, quota, systematic and symbol random. Now moving on to the 11th one, in a 3 into 3 table, the number of degrees of freedom is. Options are A 4, B 9, C 3 and D 81. For this question also there is an equation to find out the number of degrees of freedom in a contingency table with n number of rows and m number of columns or something like that. Okay. Now moving on to the next one, that is 12th one, listing conditions in some order or severity without attempting to define any mathematical relation between the categories is. Options are nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale and ratio scale. Now 13th one, that is the correlation coefficient may range from. Is it 0 to plus 1, 0 to minus 1, minus 1 to plus 1 or 0 to 100? Now 14th one, accepting the null hypothesis when it is false is called. Is it type 1, type 2, type 3 or type 4 error? Okay. Now moving on to the 15th one, when the frequency is given as mild, moderate and severe, the data scale used is. Is it an ordinal scale, nominal scale, variance or an interval scale? Okay. Now moving on to 16th one, a sampling unit is defined as. Is it a group of sample, a subset of sample, representing every member of sample or all the above? Okay. Now 17th one, sensitivity of a test is its ability to identify. Options are true negative, false positive, false negative or true positive cases. Now 18th one, in a population the sample size depends on. It depends on options are expected prevalence, expected incidence, universe size and population size. Now moving on to the 19th one, the usefulness of a screening test depends upon its. Option A, sensitivity, B, specificity, C, reliability, and D, predictive value. Now 20th one, correlation between two variables are best depicted by. Options are A, bar diagram, B, line diagram, C, histogram, and D, scatter diagram. Now the 21st question, standard error of mean indicates. Options are dispersion, distribution, variation, and deviation. Now 22nd question, a non-random sampling technique is. Options are systematic, convenience, multi-stage, or cluster sampling. Now moving on to 23rd one, when variables are not measurable, which of the following is used to be represented? Variation, ordinal, nominal, and ratio are the options. Okay. Now 24th one, to study a large population, the biostatistical methods employed is called. Is it pictogramming, tabulating, line comparison, or sampling? Now 25th one, mean, median, and mode are same in. Where are mean, median, and mode same? Is it in normal distribution, Poisson distribution, binomial distribution, or in none of the above? Now 26th one, middle value of a given series of a given data arranged in ascending or descending order is called. What is the middle value of a given series of data arranged ascending or descending order called? Is it called median, mode, mean, or average? Now 27th one, statistics to check out the mean of values is done by. Options are A, chi-square test, B, students analysis, C, probability test, and D, horizontal studies. Now 28th one, correlation between the height and weight of children is best represented by. Options are A, histogram, B, line diagram, C, scatter diagram, and D, bar diagram. Now 29th one, all of the following are random sampling methods except A, simple random sampling, B, cluster sampling, C, stratified random sampling, and D, quota sampling. Now moving on to the 30th question, type 2 error is the acceptance of a null hypothesis as true when it is. Options are A, true, B, non-existent, C, negatively valued, and D, false. Now 31st one, most of the values in data spread along the. Options are A, mean, B, mode, C, median, and D, none of the above. Now moving on to 32nd question, a series may have all except. Options are no mode, one mode, many mode, and negative mode. Now 33rd one, which of the following is not a measure of central tendency? Is it mean, mode, range, or median? Now moving on to the 34th one, that is, which of the following demonstrate highest correlation between variables? What R value is showing the highest correlation? Here values of R are given as 4 options, that is plus 0.25, plus 0.5, minus 0.75, and plus 2. Now moving on to 35th one, the graphical representation of frequency distribution with X and Y axis is called. Options are A, frequency polygon, B, histogram, C, pictograph, and D, pie diagram. Now moving on to the 36th one, the ranking students from the individual which is the highest grade point average to the lowest is an example of. Options are A, scale, B, nominal scale, C, interval scale, and D, ratio scale. Now 37th question, a statistical test which indicates the chance or probability of an observed difference between two means occurring by chance is called. Is it called test of significance or mean, ratio, or normalcy? Now moving on to 38th one, a measure of location which divides the distribution in the ratio 3:1 is called. Options are A, median, B, first quartile, C, third quartile, and D, mode. Now 39th one, as the sample size increases, standard deviation. Options are A, decreases, B, increases, C, remains the same, and D, may increase or decrease. Now 40th one, the positive predictive value of a screening test depends upon. Does it depend upon sensitivity, specificity, value, or efficiency of the test? Now moving on to the 41st one, confidence limits are. Option A, mean plus or minus range. Option B, mean plus or minus standard error. Option C, mean minus standard error. And option D, mean plus standard error. Now 42nd question. Standard deviation is a measure of. Is it a measure of correlation, statistical significance, central tendency or variation? Now moving on to the 43rd question. The test done for a statistically significant change in cholesterol values in a group of patients following an interventional program is. Options are A, chi-square test, B, paired t-test, C, unpaired t-test and D, Fisher test. Now 44th question. Denominator while calculating the secondary attack rate includes. Options are A, all the people living in the next 50 houses, B, all the close contacts, C, all the susceptibles among close contact and option D, all susceptibles in the whole village. Now 45th one. The most appropriate method of testing the statistical significance of the differences between means of two groups is. Options are A, chi-square test, B, multiple regression analysis, C, correlation coefficient analysis and D, student test. Okay. Now 46th one. The correlation between variables A and B in a study was found to be 1.1. This indicates. What does this indicate? Is it a very strong correlation, moderately strong correlation, weak correlation or a computational mistake in calculating correlation? Now 47th one. In a study, variation in cholesterol was seen before and after giving a drug. The test which would give its significance is. Options are unpaired test, paired t-test, chi-square test and Fisher's test. Now moving on to the 48th question. The levels of nicotine in 6 cigarettes were 13, 11.8, 15.4, 17.4, 31.2 and 24.3. The mean of these values is. 4 options are given below. Find out the mean of these values and see which option does it come. Okay. You can pause if you need more time. Now moving on to the 49th question. The mean cholesterol level of a group of normal subjects is 230 mg/% with standard error of 10. The 95% confidence limits for the population are. Similar to the last question, this is also a problem based question, so you can solve and take time. If you need, you can pause and find the answer. Okay. Now finally the 50th question, that is, Yates correction is necessary in chi-square test when expected frequency in any one cell is it less than 5, more than 5, less than 10 or more than 10. With that, 50 questions have been discussed from the biostatistics topic and the answers of these questions will be posted below. You can check for yourself and do post in the comment section.